Good morning everyone, welcome back to another weekly reading vlog. I haven't done one of these in a couple of weeks, so it's nice to catch up with you. I hope you're all doing really well and you've had a good few reading weeks. So what are we going to be reading this week? So you may have seen recently that I have done a unboxing from a box of stories, which is a book subscription box. Links down below if you're interested in that. And so this week I'm gonna hopefully read a couple of the books that I was sent in that box so I can give you my thoughts on them. One of them, definitely not a book that I would ever naturally pick up, but I've decided to jump out of my comfort zone and try something new that I wouldn't ever read usually. And the first one being Kate and Clara's Curious Cornish Craft Shop. I don't think anyone would have ever seen a book that looks like this on my channel ever, because I'd never pick up cutesy, kitschy, kind of romancy books such as this. And so I'm very interested to see if I get along with this one at all. It may sprout a whole new found love of this type of book. Who knows? We'll have to see. Very much looking forward to seeing what that one's like. And the other one was called Sugar Money by Jane Harris, and this one is actually based on a true story, and it follows two French young boys who are sent to Granada to help rescue and smuggle back 42 slaves that were taken by English invaders. So that sounds incredibly interesting to me and like something I would really enjoy. So those ones I'm planning on reading. I haven't started either of them yet. And I'm also still reading And the Mountains Echoed by Khaled Hosseini. I've not read a huge amount of that one, but I'm hoping to read even a little bit more of that one this week. And the only other book that I'm reading is on ebook, and that's The Crown of Gilded Bones by Jennifer L. Armentrout. This is the third book in the From Blood and Ash series. And I'm really sad to say that I'm not enjoying it. I think I loved that second book so much. It left it on such a high note for me. I gave it 5 stars. Amazing. This one is just not living up to it, and I think I've read about 200 odd pages and I just don't feel the need to pick it up. It's just, I don't know, maybe my feeling towards the characters have shifted or something's happened and I'm just not loving it. So we'll see how that one goes if I finish it. But yeah, that's what we're going to be reading this week, so I will catch up with you later. Bye! Good morning everyone, welcome to Tuesday. I hope your week is going well. I've been having quite a good reading week actually so far. I started listening to the audiobook of Grown by Tiffany D. Jackson. I'm really enjoying this one so far. It's a YA kind of contemporary, but the issues it deals with is not something that I've personally read in a YA book before. We basically follow our main character, whose name is Enchanted. She's an aspiring singer, she's 17 years old, living in America, and she's basically being groomed by a 28-year-old male pop star who she is completely infatuated with, who is claiming to be giving her all these opportunities and able to give her all these kind of music deals and all this, when in actual fact he's not treating her very good at all, taking her away from her friends. And just that kind of idea, and you know, because that happens quite a lot in Hollywood and with these rising stars, and you know, young women just will do anything, well, young men as well, will happily do anything in the face of a celebrity because they feel that that's what they should be doing. It's actually reminding me a lot of YouTube incidences where fans of certain people on YouTube have become friends with them, and they've taken advantage of that and kind of done things with much younger people, and it's sickening, but it does happen. So I definitely feel that this is a very good book for young people to read, just to have that in their mind that actually these things aren't right and you should speak up if you feel like you're in one of those situations. It's really good so far, really loving it, and really loving the audiobook. The way the voices kind of come across is really, really good. So I've also read some more of And the Mountains Echoed. This one's chapters are really long, and so I'm finding it hard to I'm like one of those people that likes to be able to get to the end of a chapter before they put it down, and it's really hard in this book because the chapters are quite long, so I don't feel like I'm making much headway with it. But yes, I am really enjoying it. I think I mentioned in one of the previous videos that the words just flow so beautifully. I just feel like they connect really nicely with my brain and how I think, so really enjoying it, although it's taking me a while to read. I also mentioned that I was going to read Kate and Clara's Curious Cornish Craft Shop, and I gave it my best effort. I think I read about 60 pages before I just had to put it down because really just not my cup of tea at all. I found the characters and the storyline to be pretty surface level from what I had read in the beginning part, and I wasn't there for it. So I thought, I'm not going to push myself to read something that definitely isn't going to be for me. So I decided to pop it down. Interestingly though, when I looked on Goodreads to see the ratings, it's really highly rated. I mean, it's only got like 1,000 ratings, but those 1,000 are all pretty high ratings. I think it's like a 4 point something on Goodreads. So hey ho, might be for some people, but not for me, unfortunately. So because I didn't get along with that one, I then decided to pick up the other book that I received in the A Box of Stories box, and that is Your House Will Pay by Steph Shah. This one, however, I am really enjoying. So we've got two storylines. One of a man named Sean who is helping his friend Ray kind of rejoin life after he's had a prison sentence of 10 years. And then our other main character is called Grace, and she is trying to deal with her estranged sister who is kind of moving away from their Korean immigrant families. And at some point, I'm imagining these two characters are going to come together and their storylines will kind of overlap. But at the moment, they haven't done. I've just really enjoyed what I've read so far of it. I think it's a really interesting perspective that I've not read from before. So definitely keen to read some more of that one. And the other one that I've read from the A Box of Stories book box that I received is Sugar Money. And this one I've read a few chapters of, really enjoying so far. I think I said that it follows two French boys, and actually that's not correct. The boys can speak French, but it's actually based in the kind of Caribbean Isles, so near kind of Grenada and St. Lucia and that kind of area where people did speak French because of various people moving around the continents back in 1765. And so the two main characters, they are slaves. I think one of them's in their 20s and the other one's kind of in his teens. They're brothers. They're basically told by their kind of slave master to go and retrieve 42 other slaves from Grenada, where the English people have basically taken these slaves from the other slave owners. When I read the back, I got the impression that it was going to be these slaves freeing other slaves into freedom. However, so far it just seems like they're going to be smuggling them back to make them slaves somewhere else. And so I will be very interested to see what actually happens if they do end up being slaves still when they try and free them or not. It will be interesting to see. So yeah, we're actually having quite a good reading week so far. I look forward to reading some more later today, and I will update you soon. Bye! Welcome back. It's now Saturday. I haven't updated you in a few days. It's been a long week and pretty much I've just gone to work, come home, read and done that on repeat. So I don't really have anything other than me chatting at you this week, so apologies, it's just going to be another chatty reading vlog. I'm also not feeling 100% today. I don't quite know what's going on. It's my first day of a week of annual leave and I feel like sometimes I work and then as soon as I get to my week of annual leave, I then come down with something. So I'm hoping it's not here to stay because I actually have quite a bit of stuff that I want to get done this week. I've got some wedding-y bits. I'm going to get my wedding dress fitted on Wednesday, which I'm so excited for. And so yeah, I'm hoping to kind of take it easy today and then hopefully I'll feel a little bit better. So let me update you on the books that I've been reading. So I think when we last spoke, I was listening to the audiobook of Grown by Tiffany D. Jackson. So I finished that one. I really enjoyed it. I think I would have given it 5 stars had the ending not quite been the way that it was. There's a lot of very heavy topics in this book, and I don't think I mentioned when I spoke about it for the first time, but it's not a spoiler for me to say that the musician that the main character Enchanted is being groomed by, this 28-year-old man, he, at the very beginning of the book, you learn that he's actually been killed. And so the whole way along, we're kind of going on this journey with Enchanted, her being groomed, but also trying to work out who may have murdered the guy that has groomed her. There is this kind of almost like a thriller feel to it, and I feel like the end just got a little bit silly and it just didn't feel like it matched the serious note of the topics that were being discussed all the way through. And I think that thriller-esque feel at the end just took away from the really deep and dark and quite disturbing topics that have been brought to light, and the things that I was thinking about just that ending just made it feel a bit weird for me. But yeah, I really did enjoy it. I think it's a really important one for all young people to read, so would definitely recommend. I then finished reading Your House Will Pay by Steph Shah. Again, I really enjoyed this one as well. Essentially in this one, there are two families that are opposing each other, essentially. One is a Korean immigrant family and another is a black family. Both sides of the story experience racism in their own unique way, and I just found that really interesting to read through. This one was a real page turner for me. I really whizzed through it come the end. I just needed to know what was going to come together with these two families and what was linking them. And once you found out what linked the two families, it was just all go from there. I can't really go into any more about it because I don't want to spoil what links these two families together, but yeah, it was brilliant. I really enjoyed it. I gave it 4 stars and I would definitely recommend. I then listened to the audiobook of Black Girl Unlimited by Echo Brown. So this one was a bit bizarre for me. I gave it 3 stars in the end because I just didn't particularly enjoy the reading experience. So let me explain what I mean. So this is a memoir and it's, I think, aimed at young adults. So it's a young adult memoir wherein Echo Brown shares her life experiences. And the difference between a normal memoir, I guess, is the fact that this one brings in magical realism elements. I really enjoy magical realism, but this was done in a way that was unlike anything I've read before. So it didn't have that flowery kind of beautiful language wherein you as the reader are kind of led into believing the magical elements of the story. I don't know how to describe it, but it was almost just like barefaced, in your face. The magical elements of it were almost just told as if they were fact. And I get that that is what happens anyway in magical realism. So basically Echo Brown in the book, she believes that she's a wizard and that her mother is a wizard. And what I did like was the fact that the wizard thing and the kind of black veils and various different things, it was obviously all a kind of metaphor for mental illness and having these things around you, and I got that, but I didn't enjoy the way the magical realism aspect was kind of brought into the story. I also felt, and I don't know if this is just due to the audiobook, but the timeline and the way the story was actually set out felt quite messy to me, and it felt like it was jumping like from time frames and where they were in the story, and I was like having to rewind and go back and listen again to try and work out, like to try and orientate myself in her life as to where it was. So it wasn't completely obvious, and again, that might just be due to the audiobook, I don't know. So yeah, I thought it was okay. I didn't think it was amazing. I think it's also a shame that I listened to it straight after Grown, because I enjoyed the listening experience of Grown so much that I think I just had that in my mind the whole way through, even though they're not really comparable. All of the Goodreads ratings are really high though, so I would say maybe take my review with a pinch of salt, because it might be that it's just a me thing. And this morning I have just finished reading And the Mountains Echoed by Khalid Hosseini, and unfortunately, again, this is another 3-star read. I mean, not unfortunately, because a 3-star read for me is still a good book, just nothing I would like read again per se, but I would recommend these books that I've rated 3 stars. So what I think irked me a little bit with this book was that from the back, this tells a story of a young boy, Abdullah, and his sister who something happens, they get separated, and it's about their relationship. Now, what I didn't realise was that actually you spend a bit of time with them at the beginning of the book, and then the rest of the story is barely with them at all. It reminded me somewhat of Homegoing by Yaa Gyasi, because that book starts with 2 sisters who end up going down different paths, and then you follow their kind of family members and the generations all the way down almost to present day, and that is kind of what happens in this book. Harry and Abdullah get separated, and then you basically read through lots of different people who are somewhat connected to them to find out where the story goes. And I don't know how much of a fan I was with it in this book, unfortunately. It was quite lengthy and each chapter was very long as well, and what I didn't like was the fact that I'd pretty much just started loving a character, really involved in their story, and then we'd change chapter and it would be a whole new person again, and you wouldn't return to the other person that you were enjoying. And so there were only maybe 2 or 3 storylines that I really enjoyed reading through, and the other ones I just found a little bit frustrating because I wanted to get back to the story and learn more about Parry and Abdullah. Like that was what I was there for, that's what I thought the story was about, and then I just didn't really care about all the other people, so it was a bit unfortunate. However, I would say the writing was beautiful. I really enjoyed the way it was written. The words were just stunning, and so I do think I will try another book from this author, because I have heard that his other 2 books, The Kite Runner and A Thousand Splendid Suns, are meant to be like even better than this one. So yeah, have you read this one? Let me know down below. I've been talking for ages, so I'm gonna leave this one here. I hope you've all had a really lovely week. I'm really looking forward to my week off. I've got a few exciting video planned, so you'll be seeing those shortly. As always, I will leave links to everything I've mentioned today down below. I hope you're all having a lovely day, and I will speak to you soon. Bye!